Ready to see the future through the lens of the past? Welcome to Endtime Prophecy Stories. Here we dive deep into ancient mysteries and uncover what lies ahead in a world filled with uncertainty. But we can't do it without you. If you want to stay prepared and never miss a revelation, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And if you find value in these stories, give this video a like. It helps us reach more truth seekers just like you. Now let's open the seal on today's story. Asteroid, Falling of the Veil. Chapter 1, The Architect's Table. The room was silent, save for the rhythmic ticking of a grandfather clock that had stood since the mid-19th century. In a high-rise office in Zurich, the air was thick with the scent of expensive incense and old parchment. Julian Thorne, CEO of Pertholite Industries, stood by the floor-to-ceiling window. He did not look out at a curved horizon, for he knew the Earth was a fixed plane, immovable and vast. He looked instead at the sprawl of the city below, a grid of lights that represented millions of useless eaters. "The trajectory script is finalized, General," Thorne said, not turning around. Seated in a leather wingback chair behind him was a man in simple black vestments. He was the Superior General of the Society of Jesus, a man whose name was whispered only in the deepest shadows of the Vatican's catacombs. "And the public perception?" the General asked, his voice like grinding stones. "Total panic. We have successfully marketed the asteroid narrative. NASA and the ESA have corroborated the data we fed them. The world believes a rock the size of Texas will strike the Atlantic in 5 years. "Good," the General said. "Fear is the only tool that makes the sheep pliable. But we must be precise. The population is too high to control effectively for the next phase. The timeline of 1844 marked the beginning of the end, but the apathy, the spiritual complacency, it has made them difficult to herd. We need a reset." Thorne nodded. "Pertholite materials are already moving. They think we are building deflectors and kinetic impactors to save the planet. In reality, we are positioning multiple nuclear payloads at fault lines and population centers. We aren't saving the world, General. We are pruning it." "The Georgia guidestones were clear," the General murmured, fingers tracing the beads of a rosary that looked more like a weapon than a prayer tool. "Maintain humanity under 500 million. It is time to fulfill the mandate. Matthew 24:7 speaks of earthquakes in diverse places. We shall help prophecy along." Chapter 2, The Discrepancy. Devin Taylor rubbed his eyes, the blue light of the monitor searing into his retinas. At 26, he had risen quickly through the ranks of Pertholite's logistics division in Sterling, Virginia. His job was supposed to be boring, tracking shipments of high-grade tungsten and titanium for the Planetary Defense Initiative. But tonight, the numbers didn't add up. He was looking at a manifest for a shipment headed to the Antarctic Rim. The label read, "Seismic Stabilizers," but the schematics attached to the file, buried 3 layers deep in a folder he wasn't supposed to have access to, were distinct. They weren't stabilizers. "Warheads," Devin whispered, the blood draining from his face. "These are W-88 advanced thermonuclear warheads." He scrolled further. It wasn't just Antarctica. There were shipments routed to the San Andreas Fault, the New Madrid Line, and deep-sea trenches off the coast of Japan. He clicked on a file named Project Whirlwind. The text chilled him to the bone. "Targeted reduction of world biomass by 90%. Simulation of asteroid impact via synchronized subterranean detonation. Date of execution, T-4 years." "It's a lie," Devin breathed. "The asteroid is a lie." A heavy hand landed on his shoulder. Devin jumped, spinning his chair around. Standing there was his section chief, a man with cold, dead eyes. 2 security guards stood behind him. "You're working late, Mr. Taylor," the chief said, "looking at things that don't concern logistics." I was just auditing the weight distribution," Devin stammered, his hand inching toward his flash drive. "Density, Mr. Taylor. We rely on density, not weight," the chief corrected sharply. "And you have become too dense for our operations." Devin didn't wait. He kicked the chair backward into the chief's shins, grabbed the flash drive, and bolted. The alarm screamed to life as he sprinted toward the stairwell, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. Chapter 3. The Laodicean Slumber. Amy Simmons sat in the back pew of the Grace Community Church, her Bible open on her lap. The pastor, a man with a gleaming smile and a suit that cost more than Amy's car, was preaching a sermon titled, "Your Best Life Now, Financial Blessings in the End Times." Amy looked around. The congregation was swaying, eyes closed, drinking in the lullaby. Laodicea, she thought bitterly, rich and increased with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched, and miserable, and poor, and blind, and naked. She looked down at her notes. The news had been screaming about the asteroid for weeks. Everyone was terrified, buying bunkers, or partying like there was no tomorrow. But Amy had been reading Luke 21. "Fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven." She opened her notebook to Daniel 11:40. "And at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind, and he shall enter into the countries, and shall overflow and pass over." "It doesn't fit," she whispered to herself. "God doesn't destroy the earth with a rock before the tribulation. The men of the earth destroy it." She thought of the Georgia Guidestones she had visited years ago, the inscription haunting her. "Maintain humanity under 500 million. "Amy?" She looked up. It was Deacon Miller. "Service is over. You look troubled. Are you worried about the asteroid? Trust in the government's plan. God uses our leaders." "Hosea 4:6, Amy replied sharply. "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." "Do you really think the elite, who worship the creation rather than the Creator, are trying to save us?" Miller's smile faltered. "You read too much into the doom and gloom, Amy. We are destined for glory, not tribulation. We won't be here for the asteroid." Amy stood up, clutching her Bible. 2 Timothy 4:3. "The time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine." "I'm leaving, Miller. This church is asleep, and the house is on fire." Chapter 4. Intersection. 3 days later, Devin was shaking. He sat in the corner of a dingy coffee shop in a town 3 hours west of D.C., his hoodie pulled low. He hadn't slept. His bank accounts were frozen. His face had been on the news, labeled a cyber terrorist seeking to sabotage the asteroid defense grid. He needed to decode the rest of the files on the drive, but the encryption was heavy. At the next table, a woman was surrounded by books. Not thrillers or romance novels, but heavy concordances, history books, and a worn King James Bible. She was muttering to herself, drawing lines on a map of the flat plane of the Earth. Devin's ear caught a whisper. "Earthquakes in divers places. Engineered. It has to be." Devin froze. He looked at her. "Why do you say engineered?" Amy looked up, startled. She saw the fear in the young man's eyes. She saw the tremor in his hands. She recognized him from the news report she'd ignored earlier. "Because," Amy said, lowering her voice, "Matthew 24 says nation shall rise against nation. The Greek word is ethnos. It's race wars, then pestilences, then earthquakes. It's a sequence, a script, and the people running this world are following a script to bring about a new world order." Devin exhaled, sliding into the chair opposite her. "I don't know about Matthew," he whispered, sliding the flash drive across the table. "But I know about Pertholite, and I know the asteroid is actually a series of nuclear devices timed to go off simultaneously." Amy's eyes widened. She didn't recoil. She leaned in. "The whirlwind," she whispered. "Daniel 11. They aren't saving us from the sky. They are burning us from the ground up." Chapter 5. The Synthesis. They relocated to a motel room paid for with cash Amy had stashed away. Devin worked on the laptop while Amy organized the spiritual intel. "The physics don't work for an asteroid," Devin explained, pointing to the screen. "They claim it's coming from deep space, coming in at an angle that assumes a spinning ball. But the targeting systems for the deflectors, the nukes, are calibrated for a stationary plane. They rely on atmospheric density, not gravitational pull. If the world were a globe, these coordinates would be off by miles. They know the Earth is flat, Amy. They're using the globe lie to hide where the attack is really coming from." Amy nodded, pacing the room. "It makes sense spiritually. Ephesians 6:12. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness in high places. They hide the nature of God's creation to hide God. If people knew we lived under a firmament, they'd know there was a creator right above us. The lie of infinite space makes them feel insignificant. It makes them think an asteroid is just bad luck, not a calculated cull." "The date is set for November," Devin said, his face pale. "They call it the Great Reset. The nukes trigger the earthquakes trigger tsunamis, the dust blocks the sun. Famine follows. Matthew 24:7-8. All these are the beginning of sorrows," Amy quoted. And then verse 9, "Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. Once the population is reduced, the survivors will be herded into smart cities, the green zones. Total control. That's when the persecution starts." "We have to warn people," Devin said. "We have to be smart," Amy countered. 2 Thessalonians 2 speaks of strong delusion. Most people believe the lie so deeply they will fight to protect it. Chapter 6. The Media Wall. They decided to try a local investigative journalist Amy had followed for years, a man named Silas Vance, who ran an independent broadcast out of Baltimore. They met him in a parking garage. The shadows were long and the air smelled of oil and rain. "You have proof?" Vance asked, looking at the drive. "Blueprints, emails between Thorne and the Vatican, coordinates," Devin said. "It proves the asteroid is a hologram, a psychological operation to cover a controlled demolition of the current civilization." Vance took the drive. He looked at it, then looked at Devin. A strange smile crept across his face. "You know," Vance said, "the lodge told us someone might come forward." Amy's blood ran cold. She saw the ring on Vance's finger, a square and compass. "Devin, run!" Lights blinded them. An SUV screeched around the corner. Vance wasn't an independent journalist. He was a gatekeeper. The media wasn't there to investigate the truth. They were there to manufacture the consent for the destruction. "Deception!" Amy screamed, grabbing Devin's arm. "Verse 4, take heed that no man deceive you." Devin pulled a fire alarm on the wall, the klaxon blaring. In the confusion, they slipped between two parked cars, Devin kicking Vance in the knee as they scrambled toward the exit. They burst out into the alleyway, the sounds of shouting behind them. "They control it all," Devin panted as they ran. "The news, the science, the companies." "The prince of the power of the air," Amy said grimly. "We can't trust the systems." Chapter 7. The Shepherd's Betrayal. Desperate and running out of options, Amy insisted they go to the one person she thought she could still trust, Pastor John, an old mentor from before she joined the megachurch. He ran a small, traditional parish in the countryside. "He taught me the scriptures," Amy said, as they drove the stolen sedan down a dirt road. "He knows the prophecies." They arrived at the parsonage late at night. Pastor John welcomed them in, offering tea. He listened as Devin explained the nukes and Amy explained the timeline. The time of the end, Pastor John mused, stoking the fire. 1844 was indeed a turning point. The rise of Darwinism, the erosion of faith. We need to use the church network to warn people to get out of the cities, Amy pleaded, before the impact date. Pastor John sighed. He stood up and walked to the window. Amy, my dear, the church is in a delicate position. We have received grants, federal grants, faith-based initiatives to help with calming the public during this crisis. Amy stood up slowly. Grants? From the government planning to kill us? It is for the greater good, John said, his voice hardening. The population is unsustainable. If we cooperate, the church will have a seat at the table in the new order. We can guide the spirituality of the survivors. Devin saw the phone in John's hand. The screen was lit up. He had dialed 911. He's one of them, Devin said, his voice low. He sold out. Wolves in sheep's clothing, Amy whispered, tears in her eyes. Matthew 24:10. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another. Devin grabbed a heavy brass candlestick from the mantel and threw it through the window, shattering the glass. Out the back! They fled into the woods just as sirens wailed in the distance. The church, the state, the media, the net was closing. Chapter 8. The net tightens. They were being hunted by drones now. The buzzing sound was constant above the tree canopy. We can't outrun them, Devin said, stumbling over a root. They have thermal imaging. We don't need to outrun them, Amy said. We need to go where they can't follow. The density. What? There's an old lead mine about 5 miles north, Amy said. The density of the rock interferes with their signals. If we can get deep enough, we vanish from their screens. They moved through the brush, the night alive with the sounds of pursuit. Devin used his knowledge of the space program tech. He knew the drones relied on triangulation from cell towers, not satellites. Keep low, Devin said. The signal propagation is horizontal. They reached the mine entrance, a gaping maw in the side of a hill. They scrambled inside just as a spotlight swept the trees they had just vacated. Deep inside the earth, in the cool, damp dark, they finally stopped. They want us dead because we carry the truth, Amy said, her voice echoing. Revelation 12:17. The dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. We have the evidence, Devin said, but no way to broadcast it. We don't broadcast to the world, Amy said, a realization dawning on her. We broadcast to the remnant. We stop trying to wake the Laodiceans. We wake the 144,000. Chapter 9. The Wilderness. Months passed. The world outside was in hysterics. The asteroid was visible now, a massive projection in the sky, terrifying the nations. The stock markets had crashed. Law and order were crumbling. Devin and Amy had used the last of Devin's offshore crypto accounts, money Pertholite hadn't been able to freeze, to purchase a remote plot of land in the mountains of Idaho. It was off-grid, rugged, and far from the fault lines Devin had seen on the map. They weren't alone. They had used shortwave radio, an analog technology hard to trace, to send out coded messages. To those with ears to hear, the rock is a lie. The fire is from below. Matthew 24 is at the door. Gather at the coordinates. Slowly, people trickled in. Disillusioned mechanics, farmers who knew the seasons were wrong, believers who felt the spirit grieving in their corporate churches. They built cabins. They stockpiled non-GMO seeds. They created a community based not on currency, but on Acts 2, having all things common. Devin set up a perimeter using hard-wired sensors, avoiding wireless signals that could be tracked. Amy held nightly studies, teaching the group how to seal themselves with the truth of God's word before the physical sealing of the doom occurred. The sealing in Revelation 7 isn't just a stamp, Amy taught them by the firelight. It's a settling into the truth so strictly that you cannot be moved. We must know who we are, where we are on this plane, and who is coming for us. Chapter 10. The Beginning of Sorrows. The date of the impact arrived. The world held its breath. The news anchors wept on live television. The Pope and the leaders of the one world religion gathered in Jerusalem to pray for deliverance. On the mountain, Devin watched the seismographs he had built. "Here it comes," he said. It didn't start in the sky, it started in the ground. The needles on the seismograph slammed back and forth. The ground beneath them shuddered, a deep, resonant groan that felt like the earth itself was crying out. In the distance to the west, a mushroom cloud rose, not from an impact, but from the ground, punching up into the firmament. Then another to the south. "They did it," Devin whispered. "They actually did it." The sky turned a sickly shade of red as dust and debris filled the atmosphere. The asteroid projection flickered and vanished, replaced by the reality of a burning horizon. Amy stood before the group of 50 survivors. They were terrified, clutching their children. "Do not be afraid!" Amy's voice rang out, cutting through the rumble of the worldwide earthquake. "This is not the end. This is the beginning of sorrows. The world is being reset for the Antichrist, but we are not of this world." She opened her Bible to Psalm 91. "He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler." Devin stood beside her, his hand gripping a rifle, his eyes scanning the tree line. The population reduction had begun. The chaos of the whirlwind was here. But up on the mountain, amidst the shaking of the plane, a remnant remained. They were awake, they were prepared, and they were sealed in the truth. The war for the soul of mankind had just entered its final phase.
For more Bible-based end-time prophecy dramas to strengthen your faith and the faith of others, help spread the word by supporting the channel. Please like, subscribe, and share.